time, we also realized that we had a person who similarly sold himself to us, activists, to Nigerians, as a man of disciplined focus, and a man who also deliberately, either by I call it a force of nature, because even at that time we saw clearly a man that was deliberately modest, that was not given to the colors and the celebration of power, as it were then. And that was my first impression. In fact, there was a lot of talks around how that call it the power, the deployment of the power of the states at that time. And some of us were even sent to the state, at that time. But at the end of the day, after there was also a change of government, and we had the opportunity of contrasts. We felt that perhaps would have worried little, would have stayed a bit longer, that the Nigerian situation that would have changed and perhaps would have led to something, a dispensation that we desired more. So from that day, that made us if we had all consciously, unconsciously desired and created the return of Muhammadu Buhari to government. So it became a benchmark, to compare governments, administrations after administrations. And it wasn't until, of course, when he started presenting himself for the office of presidency, starting February 2003. It was like the resurrection of that after while some of us started following, of course, we were then also desiring of the return of Buhari government. So 2015 for us was a milestone in the democratic trajectory of Nigeria. Because here we have Buhari finally, and of course, most of us had this huge anticipation of how powerful Buhari government. Um, and to a large extent, whatever anybody would say, I was a major follower of that government. I participated on the free list, I participated on the free list. And I realized that this person gave his all to Nigeria. This person loved Nigeria intensely. And perhaps more than loving Nigerians, he loved the poor people of Nigeria. His presidency, by whatever consideration they want to measure it, actually existed for the Nigerian poor. And I can stay anywhere and defend that, either by his policies, by his choice of policies, and in fact by the choice of some not going ahead with certain set of policies. So today, we some of us that are known to Buhari and Buhari that actually determined the kind of focus we had, politically. It is the exit of a huge, great mind. what attributes I try to learn.
Let's take a little bit from uh, the actualities there at the airport. All right, so military activities by the guard of honor, still in honor of the dearly departed former President Muhammadu Buhari. They're happening live at the tarmac of the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport. We saw earlier that the remains have been conveyed by ambulance to where we be expecting also a correspondent over there to give us actualities as soon as they arrive. Right now, we're just looking at the final moments of the parade to welcome and, of course, uh, give final salute and respect, give final respects to the dearly departed former President Muhammadu Buhari by members of the Nigerian military. All right, activities being concluded at the Katsina International Airport, also known as the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport in Katsina. Activities being rounded off by the Guard of Honor there, marching off from the tarmac. And then if you look at the right of your picture, you will see live feed from Dara, where the indigenous of the town have been waiting since morning for the remains of very departed former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but more importantly to them, the son of their soil, to return to his ancestral home. And we'll be seeing that in a short while because the ambulance conveying his remains have departed the Muhammadu International Airport for a drive of the better part of an hour to the final destination, which is Daura, as you can see on the right of your picture. And of course, all those activities will still be brought to you live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority as the nation bids farewell to one of its leaders, the man who led the nation in two states as a civilian and democratically elected ruler, and of course as a military head of state in 1983 to 1985. Gentlemen, we've spent considerable time witnessing activities from Katsina State, and as people have arrived and paid the respect and spoken glowingly about Katsina. We've seen, of course, members of this cabinet also coming to pay their last respects as well. Earlier, of course, there was Mr. Netachi was talking about his legacies and the man himself, not necessarily being was being, construed to be in the public place, not to be, unapproachable individual as well portrayed, but more of someone who liked to make self-reflective remarks, witty one-liners, and perhaps noticing things that you would know that there's noticed about you. So let's the last few moments as the weather is becoming today, let's also use these minutes to perhaps remember his sons, and I will bring in Dr. Brady here after his stint as Secretary of State and his house arrest more or less, in some cases, and then of course was in for a while as well. Family members were allowed to see, but he was brought back to public administration in the detailed appointment of the General Abacha. And again, he served with distinction in terms of how he managed his frugality and parsimony with funds. Perhaps that also used to relate to the comments of Mr. Nation in terms of the reputation he had built as a military administrator and the military, and of course, governor of the state. He cemented that when he worked as the chairman of the PTF at that time. That has reputation as well.
You cannot build something on nothing. Without a good foundation, there's no way you can positively actually hold sway and lay down those precedents of goodness that people would appreciate. Because it had the experience after he tried to top by another military administration, and as you rightly said, roughly years incarcerated, then was called back. Another military administration took over to head the Veteran of Trust Fund. Nostalgia hovers to the way I am. One who's with while you was with a particular responsibility and also to it well. For his Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, at the time as chairman of PTF, quite a number of projects were the order of the day. I recall I was in Kaduna Polytechnic. I lived at the Air Force Base in Kaduna because it's throughout northern Nigeria. First focus started drones, expansion of roads, infrastructure everywhere. which dovetailed to other parts of Nigeria. The particular reference came in the health sector. Chairman Muhammadu Buhari's BTF, that's BTF boss, ensured that all hospitals, government hospitals, clinics, government primary healthcare centers, and all the groups that clinics of preferred for Nigeria have food drugs for patients. So once I'm going, I'm telling you there's a prescription for you. There's a white, leather bag with a cross. BTF drugs handed to you free of charge from the BTF Petroleum Trust Fund. It was a public service by
Actually, my phone.
of public service, par excellence. It made sure that integrity, which is what you want, it was freedom and the spending of public funds entrusted by the administration at the time. I did quite a number of other projects.
That second never what they need help.
To see
That second now what they need help. Jim switching now. Video call down. Jim's video call. Yeah.
The first stage being when he has swearing as an administrator, not east and north state which governor. First stage, second stage when he became the head of state, and third stage as chairman ETF, which he did. So when now he formed the political party, the CBC, Congress for Progressive Change. It was a hurricane. Buharists came together, both in northern Nigeria and of course some pockets of southern Nigeria. And also those of us who were in Lagos at the time took the coordination of that party. Then later, because it was the CPC, Buhari's party, and as a singular candidate living at the time, that will come up with about 10 million votes, which is best between 8 and 10 million votes. So gradually and surely, other political parties came together in 2014, 2015, and then have the real coalition between NCC and ACA. The faction of APGA coming together with CBC to form what will have to be as the All Progressives Congress, APC. On that pedestal, he became Nigeria's democratically elected president twice. So while he has as a public servant,